Channel. Today we are going to do something a little different than our vlogs that we've been doing recently. We are going to be going through an unseen article right now of the 8 most controversial parenting topics, and we're going to just talk about them, give our opinion. I do want to say that this is just our opinion. This is not the Holy Bible of parenting advice and topics. We are just going to go through our opinions and what we think about each of the controversial.
So don't yell at us.
Yeah, each of our controversial topics is totally okay if you think differently, agree differently. If you do, comment. Comment below. We would love to just talk things through with you guys and just kind of hear other people's opinions as well. Also, make sure that you go ahead and hit the like button, the big thumbs up. Hit the subscribe if you're not already subscribed to us. And if you hit the little bell notification button right beside subscribe, you will always get notifications when we post new videos.
Woo-hoo!
All right, guys, let's get started.
Okay, so. And here we go.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, so we're going to start with...
I think you missed one, didn't you?
No, we're going to start with the least to the greatest. Okay, all right, so number 8 is going to be sleep training.
I don't even know what sleep training is.
So obviously we're not pro sleep training. We don't even know what it is. I think sleep training is when you put your kids in a room and you make them go to sleep there. Does that make sense? Like we would take, if we were going to start sleep training James Wesley, who's almost 2, which we do not, we would start like putting in his room at night. I think you start it when they're younger, but you put them in their bed and you leave them there.
Ooh, yeah.
Like you let them cry it out, I think. I don't think necessarily
it's almost like a nurture versus nature type deal.
Yeah, and I don't think I necessarily like disagree. Like I don't think it's bad if you sleep train. I think if you do not want co-sleeping, I think we're really pro co-sleeping. Our kids have slept with us all the way until we just moved into our new house. Our 7-year-old.
We just let them go as long as they wanted, really. And then when they were ready to move into their room and they're excited about that, they move into their room. And then if they want to obviously come back in the middle of the night or in the morning, they do that a lot and kind of come in and snuggle. And how long do you have kids that'll do that? Till they're 10 maybe at the most, or I guess, I don't know. But our oldest is 7 right now, and there's such a short period of time that you get to spend with them like that. So I would say take advantage of it, and it's been good for us thus far.
Yeah, I think that's our biggest thing is... We are on to number 7, which is screen time.
Ooh.
Okay, this is a good one for us. We probably don't limit screen time as much as we should.
Yeah, I would say so.
And I think we're probably really inconsistent too, which isn't great. We probably should be more like, okay, you get X amount of time per day. But we really use it.
I like to let them, as much as they can, I like them to be independent and want to do different things. And a lot of the screen time we do tell them, okay, let's turn it to something educational, or they have their movie time, or they have video games, the Roblox that they've been playing, and we do keep a close eye on what they're doing. As far as how much they do,
a lot of ours though is because of our travel, for our jobs, and our jobs.
we're together so much.
Yes.
They are at work with us because we work with children.
Yes.
So
they do have a lot of screen time while we're at work.
But it's almost like they limit themselves then because, and we'll encourage them if we think it's too much, but they like to do other things as well. It's not like they would just sit on all day. So, I think we have pretty well-rounded kids when it comes to that.
Yeah. Smacking versus peaceful parenting.
Smacking.
I think we differ on this.
What does that mean? Spanking, maybe? I would say spanking. I don't know why they said smacking.
Because back in the day, we used to get smacked. Now it's spanking. But kids from the 80s and 90s used to get
Yeah, so I wouldn't say smack. Yeah, I got smacked quite a few times. Wow. My dad would say donkey kick. He was going to donkey kick us or something.
My mom slapped me one time when I was driving.
Be real serious about it. Oof. Yeah, I don't agree with if it is smacking, that's done out of anger and a bad response.
Yeah.
Unless it's go get the hot stick or you're going to get a spanking. I totally agree with spanking. I don't agree with spanking or smacking or doing anything out of anger. I think we as adults should, and I'm not saying I'm perfect at this, obviously, but we need to make sure that we're calm, and then when we can let them know why they have the consequence that they are about to have, I fully will, go with the good book on this one. The Bible says, spare the rod, spare the child. So,
well, you're really better at this than me, because I have a tendency to, right when they do something that they're not supposed to, pop them right then. And Alex really is better. At this, even though he says he's not perfect, he's probably a lot closer than I am, for sure. He's really good about calming down, letting them sit down in timeout, and then handling it more peacefully. And they probably respond well, our kids anyway, respond better to that than they do to me, popping them immediately right when they do something, even though that's my first instinct sometimes is to spank right when they do that. I have learned a lot from him just calmly handling situations a lot better than I do.
And I wasn't raised like that by any means, but I think I've come to that conclusion and
I think that's why you're better at that
because of the way I was raised with my parents and stuff. So what I would say is that we would do sit them down, have them address what needs to be addressed right off the bat, and then come back to it when everybody's calm. As they're younger, you don't want to wait too long, but as they mature and get older, you can wait longer, and sometimes you need that length of time before you would address the situation. Then obviously, I don't think you're going to spank 15-year-olds. I don't think that's going to work, but definitely the younger kids, and then the age to when you start doing it. You can't do it too soon either. You're not going to spank a 1-year-old. I wouldn't agree with that. They don't have the mind to know what's going on. So I think when they get to the age of mental capacity to understand what a spanking is about, and then it's not done in anger, and then after that you love on them and you tell them, this hurts me worse than it hurts you, and it does. It's hard when you love your kids so much. So, but then you have a chat and you love on them, and so what I've always gotten from that is that our children understand, and they respond well to that, and they're sorry, they cry, and then they really respond with knowing that was a consequence of something that they did, and that we do love them. We're doing it out of love, and tell them the reasons why. If you grow up and you were to act like this is what would happen. I want to save that experience for you. I don't want that to happen to you, and so that's why we're doing this. So
that's good.
Ultimately, we've made well-rounded younger children. They're not. We don't have teenagers yet, but they're well behaved, so it's worked for us.
My dad used to get on to us for talking during church. He would always say, "You're going to get a spanking when you get home." He would go to his room and get his leather belt and pop it all the way to our room. You know how you pop them?
So would you get the spanking or not?
Oh yeah, always.
Oh.
If you could make mom laugh though. Eli was so great at making her laugh, and then she just wouldn't spank him. Or like falling, like he would like fall mid spanking, and then she would give up. If he could make her laugh, she was done. All right, number 5 is baby wearing. Why is this controversial?
I don't even know what that is.
Baby wearing, okay, wrapping, like doing the moo wrap or the little backpack thing that we have. I am pro baby wearing. We have done it with all of our kids. When they're little, I mean, you can do so much more with them. Like, we used to go hiking with Evelyn with that little backpack.
So why would that be bad?
Let's see. It says it's a weird term. Baby wearing should hardly be stirring up such a fuss. It simply means carrying your baby using a sling wrap or fabric. I don't know.
I don't know what the fuss is about. Maybe some of you guys do. Let us know.
Yeah, if you are against baby wearing, why? What's your reason behind that? Not that I'm saying that's wrong. I've never heard of why it would be wrong. I just think that you could do so much when you're wearing a baby. Like, if you're in Disney World and you have a 1-year-old, I mean, wouldn't you much rather have your hands free and be able to do stuff? I mean, I think that was the cool thing about baby wearing. It's like you can do things.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, number 4, sleeping arrangements. We've already hit this, really. I guess that's different than sleep training. Sleeping arrangements, I think we've already said this.
We
are pro, we're pro sleeping wherever they want to sleep. Last night, every single one of our kids slept in our bed with us.
And that was because it's my birthday today, and we wanted them to wake up with us. And so normally we haven't been doing that for a while, but yeah, they all did. And,
yeah, we're pro co-sleeping. Okay, number 3, when and how to begin solids. Well, I will say with Evelyn, we were like totally with the book. Like, she was our first kid, so I was reading the what to expect and when you do all this. And so we really did everything, I think, more right. But we've always been really flexible. I mean, even with Isaac and James Wesley, I started them on regular milk probably a little earlier than I should have.
About a year.
But they're totally healthy. I mean, our kids are all healthy. I was able to breastfeed for a little while, all of them. And then we did formula for a little bit. So, I mean, I'm okay with all of that.
We
but
didn't really get into much of the baby
solids.
food. Yeah,
we didn't really do baby food.
It wasn't like meat and potato, the hard stuff. But again, it's, people have been raising kids for thousands of years. And I do know science and where we've come and learning nutrients and nutrition. However, there still is a point at which you have to go off of the individual and do your thing.
I mean, I think we started giving them things like mashed potatoes and stuff pretty early.
Smaller foods,
Yeah, pretty early. I mean, we probably pushed what is normal on that and started a lot earlier. I know with James Wesley we did. That kid was like third kid syndrome. You're gonna be eating steak before you're a year. Not really. Okay, how to give birth, number 2. Controversial. Yeah, kind of, I guess.
Just in the bathtub or squatting.
Yeah, midwife or cesarean.
Do your thing, who cares?
C-section, home birth. I had some friends who, did the midwife thing. I've had people that were pro C-section. I personally am pro as naturally as you can give, not medicine naturally, but as far as not a C-section if you can help it. I did have a friend once that did a natural birth after a C-section, and there's very few doctors that allow you to do that because it's dangerous. Giving birth naturally after a C-section. There's very few doctors that do it.
I wonder if this is medicine and stuff, and I'm big for medicine, go medicine.
Yes, pro medicine. I've done it both ways because of this guy. So, is not. I mean, I will say that if you are a tough woman and you choose from the get go, I'm not doing medicine, and you stick to that, you are amazing. You are a rare breed of mamas. I could not do that. I had to do it because I ran out of time and I barely made it. I think by the time I laid myself down in the hospital bed, what was it like?
We went in the front door,
13
they wheeled
minutes.
you up, and like within a minute or two, you were like, the baby was coming.
Well, yeah, and let me
that
just
was the
say,
second child. The first
it was my
one,
second.
yeah, the first one we spent hours in the hospital. We went that night.
It was normal. It was very normal. I had medicine. I got to take a nap.
The second one, and so that was why. Like the second one, you were like, "Oh, the baby's coming. I can feel it." And then I just knew the last time we had so many hours. So I'm like, "Okay, well, let's kind of get our things." And so we're on the way to the hospital, and I was hungry, so we stopped at Arby's. And then they forgot a sauce that I had to pull over and.
Hey, we were waiting for French fries.
Oh, that's right. They had to make the French fries hot, and
then he asked me to put, while I was having contractions, 30-minute drive to the hospital, might I add. He was asking me to put sauce on his sandwich.
Well, you weren't too like, so she's not freaking out, and she's like,
because I'm a very calm, strong individual.
She's very calm, and so yeah, she was over there, and I was driving, and I was gonna go fast.
No, he wasn't going fast. 75.
I was thinking
on a 4-lane.
Because like this is the one time you get to go fast, and you can't get pulled over. You're like having a baby.
I mean, you could though. Anyways, they would just follow you to the hospital.
My awesome wife, she took my sandwich. Did you put stuff on my
sandwich? I threw it back at you.
Oh, yeah.
And then I smacked the cell phone out of his hand because he's just having random conversations about work with people, and I just remember smacking the cell phone out of his hand.
Maybe that's when I realized that something was going down, and then it just, as we got closer and closer, you were...
I walked myself up while he was parking the car because I was not going to wait.
The 1 to 10 and the warning started coming, and it all started rising.
Yes.
So this was this is number 5, where you're like, with the sandwich, and then, closer to the hospital, you're like, this baby's coming. It's been 5 years, so we have a hard time remembering.
But I think it was 13 minutes after we got to the hospital. I walked myself up because I was not waiting anymore. I laid down in a bed. He got there really pretty quick, but when they told me that I was not going to get medicine, I was
because it was
irate.
So she
like
had
I was
the baby normally.
Upset.
Is that the one that gave you medicine after, though?
They put it in my IV, remember, but she left the tourniquet.
She had the cuff on, not just the tourniquet on, but she left it blown up, right? So this was after she had the baby. And so then they gave her medicine through a shot, and she didn't release a thing, so it didn't get into her bloodstream. And then finally she was like, I'm in so much pain. And the lady looked over, and then she went and ripped it off. And then she just went boom.
It was out right after I had baby.
Cold, ice cold.
So we are pro medicine, pro medical. I would try to avoid C-section if I ever had to have another baby. I'm not having any more babies, but I was really against having a C-section. I was against being scheduled to go in. I think these are the controversial things. I was against being scheduled. I did not want a doctor to pick my date. I wanted to go into labor naturally at home. I did not want to be induced. I did want medicine, but I did not want to have a C-section. So I know sometimes there's situations where you can't help, emergency C-section cases, or if you've already had to have a C-section and they, opt to do another C-section. But, those are, that's just my take on that. Okay, and the most controversial topic is breast versus
for this
bottle. I think they're all like that. I think the number one most controversial parenting topic is breastfeeding versus bottle feeding.
Again, I think it's just, I'm not a woman, but just do you. Like, whatever works for you, do it. I know that with the breastfeeding, there is some nutrients, and there's the... what's the word that I'm looking for?
There's benefits, antibodies.
Yeah, and all that stuff from the breast milk. So it's like, I think it's very important to get it at the beginning, and whether you give it to them in the bottle or by the breast. There again, I think there's a obviously when the baby attaches to the breast, it produces oxytocin, or releases oxytocin in the mom. So, but there again, everybody's different. So, I think you need to do you, but also be very aware that that there are things that are very beneficial with doing the natural breastfeeding and the milk.
Okay, Alex had to step away. I'm gonna continue about breastfeeding versus bottle feeding. I also think one of the big things is a lot of people breastfeed. A lot of people that don't breastfeed do it because it's not convenient, I think. And I think that might be one of the most controversial things. You know, a lot of moms work outside of the home. They don't have their babies with them. You know, they hit that 6-week mark of their leave time and they have to go back to work. And so it's really hard to pump if you pump, or, you know, obviously you don't have your baby there, so you can't breastfeed. So I think a lot of moms find that difficult. And so one of the biggest things is just the convenience factor. A lot of people choose to bottle feed because it's more convenient to them or to their schedule. I know that I breastfed Evelyn a little bit longer than I did Isaac and James Wesley, because I realized with Isaac and James Wesley that I could pump bottles ahead of time, and I could make more milk being on a schedule my own self, and I could freeze a lot of milk. And because I could freeze so much, then when I was at work, I had bottles pre-made that I might have pumped like a month prior.
All the nights that I needed to get up and feed the baby.
It was already a pre-made bottle. Yeah, and I just,
that was
everything.
Kind of a joke. I get what she wants to. But had I needed
I wasn't going to throw you under the bus. This dude, he maybe woke up twice in all 3 pregnancies in the middle of the night.
I did a lot during the day, and she did not.
Yeah, you did. But you did a lot.
Anyways, but.
And I always enjoyed those middle of the night wake up times. But yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things is just people choose to bottle feed for convenience. And I think a lot of like your extremely pro breastfeeding people, they don't really quite understand that, because they might be stay-at-home moms, or they might just have a totally different schedule.
I'd like to see what a lot of y'all think about this one.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I think you did good. You breastfed for a month or two.
Yeah, and I just said this, I breastfed Evelyn more.
You went to the bottle. Yeah.
Yeah, and
well,
then I started pumping.
For all of them. Yeah.
But then,
you did that for like a year?
Yes. Well, and with James Wesley, though, he did not, and I think it might have been because I was drinking more coffee, not really watching my diet with him. He was really fussy, remember, and had all those, like, really, like, those problems. He was pretty gassy. He would throw up a lot. And so we had to put him on formula, like, maybe 4 months in, the most expensive formula that he wouldn't throw up on.
It's the only thing he could take down.
Yeah, and sometimes those things happen, and, you know, I think it's just, it all is dependent on you, your schedule, your child, and, you know, what, I think that formula is just as healthy. I mean, I know it's not as natural. Yeah, but I think they've gotten it pretty close.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, too, what I want to say about all of this is that all of these things are going to be different for every single person.
Yeah.
And you need to do, I think each person needs to do what fits them the best.
Yeah.
As long as it's safe and healthy for both the mom and the child. Yeah. And if that's the case, and if it's healthy, you know, that's what makes us people. We don't always have to agree, but we're different, and that's wonderful.
Yes.
And so just come up with your own way of making things happen that work best for you and the child. With all things considered. Yep.
All right. Well, we would love to hear your thoughts below. Yeah. So make sure you comment, make sure you hit the like button, and subscribe if you have not. All right, guys. We'll see you soon.
Bye, y'all.